I can't help notice that once again, Brian comes to my cube dressed like me.
I feel like the odd man out here. I should have worn a blue striped shirt.
I strive to be like the best.
I have one.
I realized that Matt is one of the best, so I just try to be like him.
That's understandable.
So we all start Dark Sector.
The emo Gears of War.
He does sort of look like that.
I don't care. I think the game looks good. You know, for a game that, you know, was dubbed like the first next-gen game, has gone through like so many different...
Now, who dubbed it that?
I think we all did. I think...
Well, it
They
was.
were the first ones to show.
So-
Like that
Like
tech
they said they were running on some type of technology, and then like they later told me like there was not even a game there. Like it was just like that.
It was a CG
It was that
video.
video, and
Yeah.
that was it. I've been down this game for a long time. I didn't think there was much to it. I thought it was too slow paced before, and now I think it feels much more like an action game. They add like an adrenaline shot now,
Yeah.
so I feel like it seems pretty good.
Well, when I first dropped into it, I was like, okay, it's a Gears of War clone. I mean, everything, like the roll, the roadie run, everything felt immediately like Gears of War. But then once you got your glaive, is that what it's called?
Yeah, it's a glaive.
Your glaive.
Yeah.
The combat actually started to flesh out a little bit with all the like little attributes that you can get for it.
They definitely need more time. Obviously, they didn't want to come out this holiday when they probably got killed sales-wise, but they added dual wielding to it, so
Yes,
that you can
that's
now like
awesome.
hold the gun and the glaive and kind of go crazy. And I feel like that has kind of helped the pacing of fights,
Oh,
where it
huge.
kind of it is definitely feels more action-oriented rather than kind of just stealthily moving around and using and like always using the glaive. So I
Weird looking on the screen. You're like, you know, holding the gun and then throwing the glaive out like this. I mean, it's definitely more effective and better
Yeah.
for the game, but it's a little funny.
If you sit there and just throw the glaive at guys, you have to wait for it to come back, and it can get really repetitive. The fact that they gave you shooting to do, that you can run towards an enemy after he's stunned, to do that like
like the finisher,
Sweet
like the
death
god,
kill
like
right
the,
on 'em.
basically the God of War.
Yeah.
Every enemy has a different kind of finishing move. So, and some of them are really cool. Like they kind of take the glaive and just like go all the way up their body and stuff like that. Or
my like favorite thing to do with the glaive is where you can throw it to pick up guns and stuff and items that have
Oh.
fallen.
Like your little dog.
It's like the hook shot in Zelda. My only concern is that the levels be able to hold up with the combat, because I was having a lot of fun learning the combat and trying new things, but you really want to make sure the enemy AI is challenging you and that the level design is strong enough where you actually have fun things to do with all these abilities that you're gaining.
some of the levels look better than the other ones. Like the intro level, which is in black and
Yeah.
white. I thought that was pretty cool.
That
I mean,
was a
just
cool
I
touch,
thought.
yeah.
That whole intro scene, and then when you kind of get infected with this kind of whatever it
That's
is,
when the color pops
that's when the
in.
cover
Yeah.
pops out.
Marlo. Marlo 1. Oh, shit.
Go ahead. We have you on the emergency channel.
But then sometimes you go indoors, and everything looked the same, and kind of just like the color palette they chose was wrong. Like sometimes I was almost like, man, this would kind of be cool if it's all in black and white. Some of the visuals, like they all look really detailed and good. I just think they kind of like some of them look
It's like a
uneven.
country of just derelict buildings and warehouses.
Yeah,
so it's just
yeah.
a lot of that. So that's one of the things we brought up, and he said, you know, we're definitely going to be throwing in more environments, and that was another big concern, which is art direction wise.
It's their own engine they're using for the PS3 and 360. It was nice to see it running really smooth on PS3 as well.
I couldn't tell a difference. Like,
You know, I
at
think
all.
the colors and everything popped a little bit more in 360, but it was hard to tell a big difference between the two.
I found her!
You know, one thing we were talking about, you know, difference between PS3 and 360 was the 6-axis controller. We played Heavenly Sword, and we realized, which,
They're not even changing like the name.
no, yeah, it's the same thing. So basically what you do is you can throw the glaive and then all of a sudden just basically steer it with the 6-axis, which It worked. I mean, it worked well on Heavenly Sword. I just think they overdid it in Heavenly Sword. So
The thing in Heavenly Sword is you could throw that, and then you could fly as far as it would go, basically. I mean, eventually it would stop, but the glaive, it's much shorter, like, range, so it's a little different. Like, at Heavenly Sword, if there's an enemy, 5 feet in front of you, it was impossible to do that to kill him. But here, I think it's a lot more effective for short range, but not as far or not as good for, guys across the room.
this game can have multiplayer, but like, do you guys really think it needs multiplayer?
Digital Extreme's last game was only multiplayer. Warpath. Yeah. That's what they do. They're used to doing that with every game they do. So I think, in a certain sense, I can expect more from it than some games. But at the same time, like, this game is kind of
okay. You know what the game? Yeah, you know what the game is. You know, you play it with a guy with a glaive, and you kind of rip everybody apart. I mean, do you really think anybody's gonna if they take some type of spin off that, whether it's a death match or kind of all versus one? Do you really think that anybody's gonna stop playing a Call of Duty or a Halo for something like this?
No.
I mean, do we really miss it in BioShock?
No, see, that's exactly. That's a
so, like, I think
example,
if you spend in terms of resource management, if you're just gonna be able to create an unbelievable single player experience, you're not gonna need multiplayer.
I'll be fine with that. Yeah.
It's so hard to nail a single player experience. And to do single player and multiplayer at the same time with a brand new IP, it's just really hard.
See, that's the thing. This is pretty much their most ambitious game they've ever had, and every Digital Extreme game has not quite met its potential. It's been like, okay, we get excited about it, they worked on Unreal back in the day, and then it's like, okay, it's not quite where we wanted it to be. Like, Pariah was like that, everything, like Warpath, all those. So it's going to be interesting to see if they can kind of get over that hump, which it looked promising for single player. I mean, the concept to me is too generic, but the execution seems pretty solid.
They delayed it for good reasons. Yep. I think, visually when you see the game, it's pretty stunning.
Lots of different enemy types.
Yeah, lots of different enemy types. And yeah, they definitely have stolen some stuff like the roadie run from Gears of War.
Yeah.
But I mean,
they integrated them really well together.
They're doing a good job,
yeah.
and I'm intrigued by the story. I went from not really caring about this game at all
exactly
to going, all right, maybe this is one I should pay attention to.
Yeah, I think that's the final part. Is like really great enemies and set pieces and levels. I think if that comes together, because the combat's there as far as I'm concerned. I think the combat's really there.
You do a good job of blending Resident Evil with BioShock and Gears of War.
I will play your video game.
And you can do it well. That's not bad. And maybe a little God of War in there.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be okay with that.
You said that. I still don't really see it.
The kills, the finishing moves at the.
But it's just like a one-hit thing. It's more like Turok does it than God of War. There's
no
button pressing.
Then Turok.
No...
All right, whatever. It's very gory. That's maybe that's what I'm saying about the God of War reference.
Kratos
sorry, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry to insult your Kratos. I'm so sorry, Mr. God of War.
Baby Kratos.
So how dare I insult the God of War?
You're in the wrong cubicle for that, man.
Yeah, next thing you know, if I say something about wardrobe, they can get more mad at me or something.
Seriously.
I don't know.
It's a good thing you dressed like him today. Otherwise,
I know.
I don't know if you still be here.
I didn't want to yell that. I want to yell that again.
Come back next week. We'll talk about God of War.
All right.
Yeah.